Okay, I'm going to show you how to make a basic web page. Now, the first thing you want to do is get the right application. Now, you can just use a very simple text editor. One program that you could use is called Notepad. If you go to your Start menu, and you don't have to do this, just watch what I'm doing here, go into the All Programs, click on Accessories, and here you'll see a program called Notepad. And if you click on that, you'll get the Notepad screen. Now, Notepad is a nice little program. It's a very simple text editor. However, it's not really good for making web pages. If I type something like HTML, and then I type head, you'll notice for one thing the tabs are really, really long. And it's not really very good looking, a good look for this. Also, if I do a tab and I hit enter, it goes all the way back to the left side and I have to do tab, tab, tab again. This is something that shouldn't be happening if you're trying to make a web page. So I don't like using Notepad really. I think that it's much better to use another program, very similar. It's called Notepad++. So I'm going to go into a browser here and I'm going to do a search for Notepad++. You can see I've done the search before. And the first result that I get is the Notepad++ homepage. So just click on Notepad++, and this is their web page. So you want to do this for your computer. If you can download and install Notepad++, that'll be a great start for making web pages. So all you have to do is go to the download area, and when you get to the downloads page, I would recommend just getting the Notepad++ installer, like this. So just click on it. It'll ask if you want to save it. Go ahead and say save. Now, as it happens, I already downloaded that. So I can go to my downloads folder. And here I have the Notepad++ 6.45 installer. So I'm going to open that. I'm going to say, yes, I want to give it permission to change things. I'm going to select a language. I'm going to choose English. Click OK. And now we have the wizard that helps us set up Notepad. This is very simple. Just say next, I agree, next, next, and install. You don't have to change anything that's set up, and it'll install for you. Now, after you finish installing, you can click Finish, and you'll notice that it will run Notepad automatically for you. So we're going to finish there. I'm going to close that folder, and there we go. Here's Notepad++. You'll notice that it's a lot more complicated looking than Notepad, but don't worry about most of the stuff. We're only going to use a few things. It comes with a document already open. Just go ahead and close that, and then it'll automatically give you a new blank document. Now, one other thing that you have to do is that you have to set the language, because we're going to be using the HTML language. That's going to be important. So if we go to the language menu and we go to H, we can get HTML. Now this is going to be an HTML web page. So if I start typing things like HTML and then head, for example, you'll notice one thing is that the tabs are fairly small. Which looks good when you're trying to make a web page. You'll notice that the commands actually are blue, and other things, for example, if I say language equals English, you'll notice that those take on different colors as well. These different colors show different parts of the commands. And if I hit the Enter key, it does not jump back all the way to the left. Instead, it keeps the tab for me until I'm finished with it. So all of these are really good things for making a web page. So I'm not going to save that. So that is a good program to have. So if you can, install that on your computer. Open up a browser, go to the search window, search for Notepad++, download the application, install it on your computer, and then you're ready to go. So now you've got the program for installing, you've got the program for making your web pages. So the next thing to do is to actually create your website. Now, a website is actually very simple. It's a folder. So if I go ahead and create a new folder on my desktop, That is a website. I'm just going to give it the name website. You can call it whatever you want. Normally the name is just letters, numbers, maybe an underscore or a dash, and try to keep everything lowercase if you can. So I'm just going to call this website, and there's my website. So I can open this folder. It's just an empty folder, but that's what a website is. A website is a folder. That's all that it is. So it's very simple, actually. So now I'm going to open up Notepad++, and I'm going to make sure that the language is set to HTML. And now I'm going to start making my website. Now, what I showed you before was just a test. Here we're going to do the whole web page from beginning to end. So I'm going to go through several different items. These are all in your textbook in Chapter 2. So when you read Chapter 2 of the web design textbook, you'll see all of these parts in the textbook. So I'm going to go through them one by one. The first thing I'm going to do is create what's called a Doctype declaration. So this is going to be in uppercase Doctype. And I'm going to say that is HTML. So basically I'm saying this is a web page. The document type is HTML. That's a web page. I'm going to hit enter. Now I can start the web page itself. Now the web page begins with tags. A tag is an HTML command. Now the tag begins with a left angled bracket and ends with a right angled bracket. Whenever you have those two angled brackets, that means there's HTML commands or tags inside of those brackets. So when the computer opens up the web page, it looks for those brackets and it uses these to see where are the commands. Now, most commands, not all of them, have an ending tag. So I can just hit enter a few times and go for the ending tag right there. Notice that Notepad sees that I have a beginning and ending tag and it's connecting them together. Now notice the ending tag is almost the same as the beginning tag, but it has a little slash right there at the beginning. So in HTML, that slash means it's the ending of that tag. So everything inside here is affected by this tag. Everything inside these two tags is a web page. Now there's one other thing I'm going to add right here. You saw me do it before. I'm going to type in lang equals quote en. Now what is that? Well, this is what we call an attribute. An attribute helps an HTML command. It gives extra information about an HTML tag. So my tag here, HTML, says this is a web page. This attribute tells the computer what language the web page is. And I said it equals EN, which stands for English. This, the EN, is what we call a value. A value means it's the information for the attribute. So again, three parts. We have the tag, the attribute, and the value. So I'll just type those out here. The tag is HTML, the attribute is lang, and the value is EN. So those are the names for those three parts. Those are the three parts of an HTML tag. Now, I do not add those to the ending tag. The attribute and the value are only at the beginning. So we never put those in the end. The end is only the tag part of the command. So we have HTML, language, English. So that is basically our web page. Now we just have to fill it in and give it some structure. So I'm going to hit the tab key here because it's the normal style to, when you're putting something inside another thing, it's the normal style to put a tab to make it indented so you can see, oh, that is inside a different thing. So I'm going to make what's called a head, and I'm going to end the head. There we go. and then I'm going to make a body, and I'm going to end the body. Oops, there we go. All right, so the head and the body are the two main parts of the web page. The head, which you can see here, contains information about the web page. So whatever we put in the head will be information about the web page. For example, I'll put in a title. Notice that I indented again because the title is inside the head. The head is indented because the head is inside HTML. And then I'll indent one more time to put the title, my web page. Notice that this is not in the angled brackets. This is just plain text. So that's going to appear on the web page as plain text. And then I'm going to /title and finish that. And I want to unindent that a little bit. So now that is at the same level as the title tag. So I began the title here. I ended the title here. And everything in between is affected by the title. So here's my head. I can put a lot more things in the head, and I'll be doing that soon. But right now I just wanted to show you that very, very basic structure, the head. Now the body is where the actual interesting stuff is going to be. Whenever you open up a web page and you're looking at text or pictures, all of that is in the body. So I'm going to put a very simple statement inside the body. I'm going to say, hello world. Now, hello world is just a very, very simple, basic message, and this is what you always do on the first day of a programming or computer class. You make a hello world program, which basically just says, hello world. Notice again, I did not put the angled brackets, so this will show up as text. That is a very simple web page. So now all I have to do is save. I can go up here to the top and I can just save it. And now I can save it in my website. So I want to make sure I saved it inside my website folder. If you made it on the desktop, you can go to the desktop and you can go into the website folder. And then you want to give it a name. Now notice that because we chose HTML as our language, it says save as type HTML. So now we'll give it a name. The first web page that you make for a website is almost always called index. Now finally this will be called index.html, but right now I'll just type index. The HTML will be added automatically, and I'm going to say save. There is my web page. If I go back to my folder, where the website folder that I made, you can see now I have an index file. And if I double click on that, it will open up a browser, and here is my web page. You can see right here, there's the title. Remember I wrote my web page, and here is hello world right there. So that's how you make a web page. That's a very simple web page, but that's how you do it. If I go back in to Notepad++, we can see here's the web page right here. Here's my web page. Here's hello world. I can add a word here. I can say my cool web page. It's not really cool, but let's just say that. And I can say instead of world, I can say hello everybody. Now when I save this again, and I go back to my browser, I can reload. You can hit the F5 key, and oh, look, there we go. My cool web page and hello everybody. So when I make a switch, when I make some change here in the code, it also shows up on the web page in the browser. So you can see that I'm actually making a web page right here. And that is the most basic web page that you can make. Create the doc type, the HTML tag with the language attribute, create a head with a title, and then create a body with some text. That's a very, very basic web page. So I'm going to close the program now and close the browser. And here we go. So remember, I created this folder called website, and we put the index file inside the folder, and there's my website. I've got a website, I've got a web page, and it's all done. So that's a very, very basic web page on a very, very basic website. So right now, I would suggest that after you finish viewing this video, go ahead, download Notepad++, install it on your computer, and then do this basic website that I just showed you. So if you need to go back and watch parts of the video to see what's going on, go ahead and do that. But try to make this same page. After you're finished, after you've done that a couple times, come back and I'll show you how to make a little bit more interesting stuff on your web page.